School series. I know we went live last week with Vlada, our CEO, and you guys are more than welcome to watch that. I'll drop the link in the comments, but I have Danielle with me to get you guys set up for back to school. Danielle, what are we going to talk about tonight?
We're going to talk about the steps you need to take to successfully set up your parent directory, add your students in, and best practices for just getting started for the school year. So I'm really excited to show you the product and get your steps set up so you can add your parents and get started.
Yeah, and guys, we love when you guys work alongside us. So even if you're tuning in, 2 weeks from now, and that's when you're going back to school, we love hearing from you. So feel free to drop a comment in the chat box. Let us know where you're from. We don't care if it's 2 weeks from now. We don't care if we love you if it's today. But if you're joining us 2 weeks from now, still drop a comment. We definitely read those. So Danielle, I'm gonna let you start by kind of pulling up class tag. And in the meantime, I'm going to tell everyone what our theme is for this year. So if you look in the corner, I know it's the opposite side of what you actually point to. Our theme this year is Together We Can. We really wanted to kind of wrap around this idea of community and the importance of leaning into each other, especially as we're going back to school and, there's another COVID variant, that's making its appearance. And some counties and some states don't know how they're going back, if they're going back remote or hybrid. Don't worry, we have a solution to it all. And together we can make this the best year. Last year we went back to school strong. This year, together we can. Really leaning into that power of community. And Danielle, I'm going to go ahead and share our screen.
I just want to say I'm loving the new graphics.
Right.
For Together We Can. Below, it's such a upgrade from last year when we were onboarding for back to school.
I know, and I have to say, for those of you that are tuning in, and we try to on Wednesdays today, if you go check our Instagram posts, our CEO was on there talking, but we have an amazing graphic artist named Gabby from Portugal, and she elevates our look. We love her, and she has done such a great job and really brings what we have in our head to life. And and you guys will get to see a little bit of that actually if you stay tuned to the very end. We'll show you some themes that are coming, and she's designed those and has done such a stellar job at making our product look amazing.
I don't know about you, Sam, but I would love to add the boho rainbow theme
to
my account. So I don't know about you, but that's my choice.
I don't have a sneak peek of that theme today, but for those of you that are tuning in, we will have a boho theme probably within the next week or so. So keep your eyes out. It's coming.
So I am logged in my classroom on ClassTag. As you can see, it says my classroom name right over here. The first step, once you sign up and create your account on ClassTag, you're going to create your classroom. After creating your classroom, your next step is going to be adding student names and parent contacts to your ClassTag page. So you're going to click on the blue tab on the left-hand corner that says Directory, and it's going to show you the ability to add co-teachers. So if you wanted to share your classroom with any other teacher in your building or in your grade team, you can add them here. Just add in their email. And below, you have access to your class directory. So in my classroom right now, you can tell that I already have student names and parent contacts added. But if you're new, you're going to click the orange people plus sign, as I called it, on the right-hand side. And you're going to click add a student. If you have Google Classroom and you would like to carry over your students' names, you can synchronize students with Google Classroom. But for today's session, I'm going to show you how to add students and parents right to your classroom directory. So when you click on the button, you're going to have a few options to add a new student. You can manually add in the student's first and last name. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to add my dog's name. I love this.
We use pet names all the time.
And then I'm going to click add. And then it's going to pop up the student's profile. And then you'll have the ability to add the guardians. So you would just put in the first guardian's email. What I love about ClassTag is ClassTag translates in over 100 languages. So you can pre-select the language that you would like that family or that parent to receive communication in, so that when they receive their invite, it's in the language that they feel most comfortable reading. And if and you can also preview what it's going to look like, which for me was key when I was using ClassTag as a teacher. I wanted to see what parents were seeing, just so if they had any questions and they didn't know how to move forward from their invite, I can support them. So you can see what it looks like as an email preview for that parent, and you can also see as an SMS preview.
That's great. And real quick question, Danielle.
Yeah.
Can you show us how to send an invite, maybe if someone just has a cell phone number and not so much an email address? Is it still, can you still send them a message?
Yes, thank you so much, Sam. I almost forgot that. So if you are sending an invite by cell phone, you're going to select add in another way. Here you have the ability to add via phone, and it'll populate for you to add in the mobile number. And if you wanted to print an invitation for that family, you can also select print an invitation. When you're done adding the information, it's going to add the guardian, and you can add more guardians to that student's account. Fun fact, you can actually add up to 6 guardians for every student's account. And I highly suggest you use that ability because depending if you have students that are learning virtual, in-person, blended, that student may be going to more than one household within a week. So adding every guardian that would be supporting in the classroom, needing to know what's going on in the classroom, it definitely lends its hand to being able to add multiple contacts to a student's account.
And for those of you that are joining us for the very first time and don't know who we are, we didn't get to do our introductions, Danielle. Danielle, you mentioned that you've used ClassTag somewhere before. Tell us how that worked.
Just like using for when I started.
Yeah. Where were you using ClassTag as a?
Sure. I'm actually very prideful about this point. And if you don't already know me, I am actually one of ClassTag's first users. And I use it as an elementary school teacher. I taught various grades in elementary from kindergarten for about 3 years all the way to 3rd grade. And I also had a chance to adopt ClassTag school-wide when I was assistant principal. And so I really know the ins and outs of our product. I have supported with creating some of the features you see and use every day on ClassTag. And so I can definitely not only show you our product, but give you any tips and best practices to get you started, as tonight is our first session in the series. So.
And Danielle is like our in-house like product expert. Is if you have a question about product, you always go to Danielle. And for those of you that are joining in, we're both former educators. We're both teachers at heart. I taught for 5 years in the classroom, social studies, 6 through 12. My last 3 years were virtual. So if you have any remote learning questions, I'm happy to help. And I've been with ClassTag. This is my 4th summer, 3rd year. So it's been, I feel like, Danielle, we were talking about this before we went live, but we were like, what summer is this? So how many times have we gone live year over year? And we didn't know if it was 2 or 3, but we've been going live for a while with each other.
And I look forward to it every summer. This isn't work for me. I just enjoy being able to share knowledge, hang out with you, Sam. I feel like this is something that we both love to do, and getting teachers excited for back to school.
I think we both love it because we're teachers, and we hope we give you guys the best. And feel free to ask questions, guys. We want to give you practical, useful information. It's so important to us that you're using ClassTag and that we're giving you good advice, even, how to get parents excited about communicating with you. That's even in itself rough, and we're here to support you and help you with that too. So getting back to adding parents, tell us some other ways you can add parents, because the directory is kind of nifty. You can do it a couple different ways.
Yeah, so I see the best way for our next way to show, and that is by click copy from a spreadsheet. So I went through that really quickly. So when you click the orange people button, again, I showed you how you can put in students' information manually, but you can copy from a spreadsheet. And so even if you are not someone who's good with spreadsheets, this is not intimidating because it's very straightforward. You can pull up your Google Sheet, you can pull up Excel file, and all you need is the student's first name, the student's last name, the first guardian's main contact. So that could be phone number or email, and then you can add multiple guardians for every column. Now, I remember when I was teaching, when I got my rosters, a lot of this information was already organized into a similar spreadsheet in this way. So all you'd have to do is manipulate the data if it's a digital copy. If not, you can easily make your own spreadsheet. And then all you're going to do is actually drag it and drop it where you see this template. Once you do it, it's going to upload all the information for you. And then when you go to your main screen of the directory, you'll see all this information loaded. If there was a guardian for a student that didn't have a contact information, all you have to do is click add the guardian, and then you can go in and manually add it as the year goes on. As we know that sometimes when information is pulled from your student information system, sometimes parents don't put in their contact information or their new parent joining for the school year. So you always have the ability to add parent contact information throughout the year. It's not just a one-time upload.
Danielle, can you tell me, I noticed some parents have exclamation points next to them. Can you kind of explain what that means?
Yes. So if there is an exclamation point next to a parent, it means one of two things. It means that we have tried to send them an invitation or just communication in general, and their contact information is bad. It means maybe the email was taken down wrong, or it's a landline phone number, because in ClassTag, you need a mobile number in order to receive SMS notifications. So that's the one thing. Contact is not correct, it's bad. The second could be that the user, the parent, has marked us as spam, and so we cannot actually send any communication to them. So you'd have to follow up and just maybe it's a conversation of, hey, we're using ClassTag. This isn't spam. This is how we're communicating. Or you just need to get a new contact information from that parent. And I really love is that at the top of your directory, you always know the status of how your families are connected and which families are considered unreachable. So this widget bar over here is accessible under the directory. And then you also see it on your home page so that you always know the percentage of families who are connected.
And can you show them, it says unreachable users in that blue. Can you show them what that does?
Yes. So going back to your directory, looking at that widget, you can actually click on the unreachable users to see who's considered unreachable. And all you have to do is click on it, and it's going to bring up their profile so you can edit their information. So you always have up-to-date, realistic connectivity data on your parents. So if you wanted to get a chance to see, well, how are my families engaging, meaning what announcements have they read? And if you haven't yet learned about some of the basic features of ClassTag, like creating an announcement or some of the activities we have, stay tuned because we'll definitely send some information and talk about that in further sessions. But your stats tab, that orange on the left-hand side, is going to let you know based on the directory, the information we have in the directory and how families are engaging, how many announcements they've read, their last visit to the ClassTag platform. And we also rank them for you in terms of their engagement. So you'll notice that some families will rank as strong, meaning that we have their contact information, they're reading announcements, they have read receipts, to families that are emerging, meaning that it could mean that their contact isn't bad or that they're not engaged or not reading as frequently, which means that there's an interruption with communication in your classroom.
That's great. Danielle, most teachers going back, will see parents the very first time during back to school night. Is there some tips and tricks you might use in adding parents and getting them engaged right from the get-go? Do you have any good tips for that?
Yes. Yes. Thank you for asking that because I think it's super, super helpful knowing this going into back to school. Number one, I would add your parents to your directory. Obviously, need to make sure that you get the go ahead from your leaders, but add your parents as early as a week before back to school night. And the reason why is you want to give families a chance to sign up for class tag. Now, I want you to understand the difference between being connected to class tag and signing up for class tag. When families are connected to class tag, that means that you've inputted their parent contact information into your directory. As long as their email or phone number is shown, or it shows their name, and you don't see an exclamation point, they will always receive communication. Now, if a family member is signed up for class tag, it means that they've accepted their invite and they've gone in and edited their account settings. They've pre-selected their language that they want to receive all communication in. Maybe they have changed their email to phone number because that's the best way they can receive communication for them. And so they're editing those settings, and you can tell because they've added a picture, they've edited their first and last name. So a week before back to school night is the best way to add so that it gives them a chance to connect and to sign up. And for you to see which families still need to update their contact. So when you have back to school night, I suggest you have a small presentation about class tag. You let families know this is your main form of communication throughout the year for everything classroom wide. And your school may actually be a part of Class Tag Connect, which is our school-wide platform. And so this is really an all-inclusive one-stop shop for all communication. And so you're setting the tone during back to school night, either verbally with a PowerPoint presentation. You can even set up laptops in your classroom with class tag on the home screen so that you can support families one-on-one to make sure that they're set up and their profile is ready to go and they know how to access the information. I would definitely show them the app. We have flyers that we could provide you. Sam, I think you have a nifty toolkit that you're going to actually drop in the chat fairly soon.
Guys, I did. Good timing, Danielle. I feel like you knew I was typing that up while you were talking.
I saw your face and I knew it was in your eye.
And you guys, I dropped a link for you in chat. You do not have to create any of these resources. You do not have to create a presentation for parents. We've done it for you. And feel free to just use what you need. The launch kit will get you set up. It will walk through everything Danielle's already talked about how to add parents and how to clue in and find out, those parents that haven't really connected. But it also gives you really great tips for going back remote, or if you're going back in person during back to school night. It has everything. So yeah, feel free to click. And I want to give a little shout out to our lead advisors. Stacy is the one who helped update that, and Jasmine did too. And if you guys noticed, Jasmine's in the chat, so I want to give a big shout out to her and say hi. Jasmine, if you have any great tips or tricks for back to school night, feel free to drop them in. I'm sure our teachers would love to hear any tips you have. Our lead advisors, by the way, are two teachers who they're the best. I mean, Danielle, I know we kind of just talk about them all the time about how awesome they are, but huge shout out to them. They're here to help. There are class tag experts on the ground, and they're always here to help. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them questions. If you didn't get in touch with us, they're Jasmine and Stacy. They're happy to help. And I will turn it back over to you, Danielle.
Thank you. So I just want to organize a little bit more some of the things that I talked about. So number one, make sure that you're inviting families at least a week before back to school. Next, I would review your directory to see if there's any parent contact information you can update for all of your students. You can also resend invites. How you would do that is you would click on the parent's profile, and then you have the ability to resend the invite. So once they're added, you can continue to resend the invite. After that, the night before back to school, again, you'll see which families are connected or who's not. Go over and click add a student and download and print parent invitations. Now you can go through and click the parents who have not created their account, and you can go and you can print their invites. So what it's going to do, and I absolutely love this about ClassTag, is it's going to personalize it. It's going to put the student's name pre-filled for you, and then it's going to give step-by-step directions so now that parent can take the printed invite, put in the code, and then be able to easily create their account. So if you're wondering, well, Danielle, is it going to create another account for them? It's not. When you put in the code, it will allow that same parent to that you've added to the directory to connect. Now, I mentioned parents do not need to create an account on ClassTag, but I want to drive home how important it is for all parents to connect and create an account, because their experience overall on ClassTag is going to be even better than if they're just passively reading communication through email or text. You're going to start using some of the other features available on ClassTag, such as parent-teacher conferences. And if you want parents to start signing up for things that you have happening in your classroom, you need to educate them and show them exactly what they need to do so they can start signing up. And that starts with getting them comfortable with setting up their profile, downloading the app. So that's why I mentioned set up some laptops in the back of your room, create office hours maybe in the morning before school starts or afternoons at the end of your school day so that parents know that they can come into your classroom to seek support on getting set up with ClassTag. Now for my virtual teachers, you can easily do that too. Quickest way, you can give them a phone call after school, set up a phone call. For families who know how to use our parent-teacher conference feature, you can easily set up office hours with the parent-teacher conference feature. Right. Virtually, it creates an automatic Google Meet link for you. So there's lots of ways that you can do it. But I would definitely start with those best practices and use that back-to-school kit that Sam has sent in the chat.
Yeah, and Danielle, you always said something that stuck with me. Danielle was a big advocate, and I 100% think that this is a great way to handle it, is literally make your back to school night like a ClassTag informational session. Have everyone download it while you're sitting there so that you can instruct them and make sure that they're comfortable with the app so that when they leave, they get it. And we can, as a virtual teacher, you can totally do that on Zoom. You can make a session where everyone joins and you can say, hey, let's all set this up together, get on the same page so that, communication isn't spotty or crazy. One of the other things I know that a lot of teachers like to do is record a video about how to use ClassTag so that when parents do figure out how to get on ClassTag, it's there. I always say creating an announcement and just saying welcome to teacher or to parents, coming on is a great way to just extend a warm welcome and get everyone on the same page.
Oh yeah, Sam, you said it right. And I mean this when I say that if you put the effort in and the time now, it's going to tremendously pay off as the year goes on. Now, I've used ClassTag as a teacher for 3 years, 3 or 4 years, 4 years. And when I think about my days when I just started to where I ended before I actually joined the ClassTag team, I realized that when I put the effort and time, making sure every single family member was connected, they had a workable contact. I added multiple guardians to a student's account, and I educated my families. By middle of October, I had 100% of families RSVPing for events in my classroom. Parent-teacher conferences were a breeze because I didn't even have to show them how to do it. And the best is when I had my my theme parties like Halloween or end of year parties, I had all my family show up, and I had teachers who would come by and be like, Miss Fugazi, why are all your families here? I don't understand. I got like 2 families to attend. I was like, because I use class tag and I really set the tone and the expectations with my families. And then lastly, access your stats. I mean, stats sets us aside from our competitors because you have everything you need to be successful in terms of improving engagement. You know when your families have logged in. You know when they've RSVP'd, the read announcements they've read. So use that, leverage it week over week so that you can really push engagement as the year goes on.
Danielle, we do have 2 questions, and I do want to like kind of cap off what you were saying, that if you put the work in now, if you front load, you're going to create such a better relationship with families in the beginning, and it kind of gets them out of that like angry mindset. Because I know there's a lot of parents who were just really angry last year at teachers because of all the uncertainty, and they were just stressed. This is a great way to start building relationships at the beginning, so you don't run into that later in the year, which I know as a teacher it's so hard because back to school is like insane, but make the time. It's totally going to pay off. So Danielle, first question, what happens if the parent code doesn't work? What can the teacher or parent do?
So they can actually, I love this too, is that you can go to the bottom of your screen, and it's not showing up on my account right now, guys. Let's see if I refresh it. Well, so you can, your parents will have a bubble at the bottom right-hand corner. When you click that, it's our direct line to support so that you can easily just send a message and let them know. You as a teacher can easily directly add the parent contact information to your directory. You can also email our support team at support@classtag.com to fix that code. So there's a lot of different ways that you can support them. But probably the easiest is using that chat bubble or adding the parent directly. Our support team will answer right away. They're actually very quick in answering, and they'll actually reach out to that parent directly so you don't have to, and make sure it's squared away.
And interestingly, it's not Danielle, it's not class tag that made the bubble go away. It's intercom. So for those of you that are tuning in, if you ever need help on class tag at all, there's usually this little chat bubble right here. And we use this great program that's integrated with our platform to make sure you get on-demand help. I mean, we're right there to help you. Our user support team is amazing, and they will be happy to help you. A real human person is going to respond to you. It's really great. So I did want to interject that real quick. And then Danielle, the other question that Elizabeth had is, she says, I have a school account and classroom account. How do I make sure that the school account removes the students that are no longer attending the school?
Well, I got an answer for you, Elizabeth. I'm really excited to show you because I don't think a lot of school leaders know that this is available to them. So pay attention. So if you go to your school page, so for our new users, you may be connected to your school. And so you're going to see what it looks like on a school page. So I'm inside of a school page. And just like the classroom, there's a directory for the school, which will house all of the student and parent contact information for all classrooms connected to your school. So if you go all the way to the bottom, Elizabeth, to where you see your school directory, you can search the student that is no longer at your school. It's going to pull up that student. You're going to click on their profile. So click on their name, edit, and there's going to be a button that says active account. So if this student is no longer at your school, you're going to uncheck the active account and click save. And what that's going to do is it's going to basically hide that student so that they no longer receive any school-wide announcements thus far. Now, we do, as class tag, we need to hold on to student contact information for, I think it's about 2 years, so they cannot be deleted. So that's the way that you mark them as inactive.
That's great. That is, I didn't even know that, Danielle. I just learned something myself.
Yep.
And guys, if you have any questions, feel free. We do check the chat. Like I said, a couple of weeks from now, even if you comment, we're going to answer. Feel free to ask us any questions you might have, and we will be back next week to not only answer all the questions you have, but to pick up a new topic. So keep your eye out on Facebook, and we'll let you know what we intend to talk about. Oh, Danielle Elizabeth commented. She wants to know if we have multiple students, is there a way to do this? They have hundreds of students.
So you can easily just send support a message. You can also send it to me, and I'd be happy to forward it to our team. My email is danielle@classtag.com, and we will definitely help you with that, as I know it's a lot of students. So support at ClassTag. You can also CC me or send it to me directly, and I'll forward your request.
Yeah, and if you ever have a question for either one of us, it's simple. Mine is sam@classtag.com. So feel free to reach out. We're here to help. And hopefully our first series kicked it off for you guys, and you know how to add parents and have an amazing back to school night. If you have any other questions, like I said, drop them in the chat, and we will be seeing you next Wednesday.